is your favorite nerdy girl here, Nerdy Girl Reviews, and I am back with a review for American Horror Story Season 10 Double Feature. Stay tuned for my commentary. Also, if you would like to see my channel, you can visit me on YouTube. If you're seeing this on Instagram, click the link in bio. Also, if you'd like to see my other reviews, you can catch me on sofritoforyoursoul.com. Now let's get into this spooky season. Stay tuned. Now, before we sink our teeth into this season, tell me, am I doing my best Ursula, played by Leslie Grossman? Which, by the way, just the fact that she was featured in both seasons, I think she's phenomenal. I really loved her in Apocalypse, and I believe in Cult. She was in Cult too. So something about her I appreciate, and she always brings something to every character, especially this Ursula. It's like she is fabs from head to toe, honey. So let's get into this review, and yes, let's sink our teeth into it.
Yesterday.
I know, I'm just
Really hard right up the ass. Not feeling it? Rappers are allowed to not feel it. Girlfriends commenting on clothes their friends are trying on are allowed to not feel it. You are a professional writer, and you feel it when the work bell rings. Okay, Harry, I'm going to speak even straighter to you. Do you understand that the job you used to have literally does not exist anymore? I mean, co-EP on some network procedural, those shows are dinosaurs. If you want to continue being a professional writer, you've got to create your own thing now, today. Look, buddy, you know I love you. Okay, go write. I hate you.
Okay, so you get the gist of her character this season. She's a booking agent, talent agent, I believe also a script maybe agent. Nonetheless, she's very much into the entertainment business, and if you want to get your stuff done and you want to get your stuff paid for, this is the type of people that you need, that you want. But she is very cutthroat. She doesn't mince her words. So never expect this character to be on her P's and Q's. She will tell you straight to your face. Nonetheless, so what we have, let's give a little quick rundown of the plot in case you haven't been privy to this season. Season 10 premiered on August 25th, 2021. Red Tide. So we have 5 episodes, which is Red Tide, and we have 5 episodes for Death Valley. Red Tide's focus was on a struggling writer. His pregnant wife and their daughter moved to an isolated beach town for the writer. Once they've settled in, the town's true residents begin to make themselves known. And for Death Valley, a group of college students on a camping trip are swept up in a horrifying and deadly conspiracy decades in the making. Now, for Red Tide, I think we had an incredible cast. We have the return of Sarah Paulson, because I'm sorry, she is just the staple for American Horror Story. And she plays tuberculosis Karen, a mysterious, frantic local. Macaulay Culkin makes an appearance and is a regular on this, at least the first 5 episodes, playing Mickey. I believe he's like a hustler, possible prostitute, but also daydreams as being a screenwriter as well. Ryan Kiera Armstrong as Alma Gardner, a new take on being a tortured artist. I think that's the little girl. And if it's the little girl, she was amazing. I mean, if you've ever seen the movie The Omen, this child really embodied that very evil character for such a young little person, and well, essentially a child, to take on such a hefty role and as evil. She did a phenomenal job. We also have Evan Peters, and we love Evan Peters. He plays Austin Summers, a mused artist Lily Rabe, we love her from Coven. I mean, tell me you don't think of Misty when you see her. Nonetheless, she's played throughout most of seasons of American Horror Story, but she's beloved from Coven, playing Doris Gardner, mother in a constant state of dread with the Lyme disease. Why was she constantly bringing that up? We don't know. Frances Convoy as Bella Noir, the living embodiment of a cautionary tale. Billy Lord as Dr. Lark Fieldman, a peculiarly sharp dentist. Leslie Grossman as Ursula Khan, an overall over-the-top agent sensing something weird is afoot. Adina Porter as Chief Burleson, the new head of the police in town. Angelica Ross as the chemist and the source of bloodthirsty addiction. Now, the overall consensus for Red Tide is this miracle pill. And I'm sorry, anybody who's an artist and definitely wants to make it into the scene, that's definitely what you're after. You're like, well, I know I have talent, and of course they always say hard work. But sometimes let's just be honest. Let's just call the sin for what it is. Sometimes you just want to cut the line. You want to cut the line, you want stardom, and especially if it's something that is attainable by just a simple pill. But, nothing in life is free. You can't expect miracles just like that. And the consequences of taking this pill, which is orchestrated by our chemist, played by Angelica Ross, this character, and I don't believe she ever gets a name in the first 5 episodes that she's in. She's just the chemist. And she doesn't do it for stardom. She doesn't make it for money, although she does make buku dollars, because once these people do become famous, they become addicts, and they constantly are coming back to her for that recipe that she's the only one that knows how to create. The consequences of this pill is that it makes you bloodthirsty and essentially a vampire. You need to feast, you need to eat, and you can't digest anything else. You can't eat food anymore. It'll make you sick. And there's two, I want to say there's two varieties of vampires here in taking this pill. It either you really test the ability. Are you really talented? Because if you're not talented, the consequences of that is that you really become this like loathsome monster with this frail appearance. You lose your hair. You even lose consciousness of who you are. You're left basically to your devices, roaming the streets, killing to feed basically the hate, the resentment that you're not as talented. And then the people who are talented, well, they constantly are creating and pushing out millions of dollars of projects. So that's what our main character, Harry Gardner, played by Finn Whitrock, tell me he is not gorgeous to look at. I mean, I just think about his character in Hotel with Lady Gaga. Remember that season? Oh, he's gorgeous. Anyway, nonetheless, he's our main writer here. And all of a sudden he takes that pill, and if he's just pushing out, not even just pilots, he's pushing out whole seasons in just like a blip of 48 hours, if that. Now, having his child who's a protege, she herself is, excelling and wanting to be, desiring to be the best. She just wants to be the best. She's just one of those, like, I guess you can quote antisocial. You can tag her as antisocial here, but very much into her talent, that she needs to be the very best. And she realizes that her father is taking this pill, and she wonders, if I take that pill, will I be phenomenal too? Look how he's pushing out work, and I think I can do it. I can hit that note that I can't. And she's a violinist, so she takes it. But now she's addicted to it, and she needs it. Almost to the point where she's relentless when it comes to the pursuit of that pill, almost to the point where she doesn't necessarily care if now that would affect her family unit. It's near devilish the way she is able to manipulate her father into getting her for him to see it her way, so that she can continue being on the pill and excelling and becoming this exemplary musician working for a symphony. Young protege is her desired. And though here she has her mother, who's pregnant at the time when they get to this area, I believe it's Providence. Um, she's near insulting with her mom. She's just like, well, we know. Well, this is what she tells her father. We know, you and I both know she's not as talented as us. So maybe give her the pill, and then she'll become one of those crazies in the streets, and she'll leave us alone. The fact that this child was able to hatch that is incredible. So that in itself was like, ooh, man, we were onto a story here. And she poor Mrs. Gardner, Doris, the stress gets to her. She's an interior decorator, but isn't doing so well. She's mostly known on Instagram, but doesn't have that talent or that clientele just yet. And them staying there was kind of like a swap, right, between like, well, we'll let you stay there and you'll redecorate, and you'll get a percentage off, or you get to stay there for free. But the pressure has been mounting. Plus, she's been seeing weirdo shit happening in her home between her husband and now her kid. The pressure gets to her to the point where she is sent to the hospital and she gives birth, perhaps prematurely. Now, once she's released, she has a son. She has a new little baby boy. But remember, her daughter, I think her character's daughter's name is Alma. Alma is bloodthirsty, and she goes so far as to piercing her brother's little foot so she can like suck him. Not to the point of death, but it startles her. She goes through a tailspin of emotion. She's already going through postpartum depression. And then enter our Ursula, who is bloodthirsty herself, but she hasn't even taken the pill. She just wants that talent. She wants to crank out that talent so she's even more wealthier than what she already is. And she sides with this little Miss Thing, this little Alma person. Like, she did not care. She really did not care of what was needed. So she hatches a plan with the chemist.
What?
Gotta be the greatest. I can't let you stop me.
So she hatched a plan with Ursula, the chemist, and I didn't make that clear, but Billy Lord's character, who is Dr. Lork Feldman, she has this little shop where she realizes that post you taking the pill makes you bloodthirsty. So she specializes in making your teeth very pointy, because they realize that because you're bloodthirsty and you having regular, squared teeth, it's harder to bite into the skin and pierce it. So if you already have a razor sharp teeth, then it's easier for the kill. So here's this child that she was able to do that, and she wears like these denture like to make it look like her teeth are normal, but she's able to remove it, and she murders her father. So basically they kind of get away with it. There is a